It's just been released, so it came out into bookstores on the 27th of June, so newly released. The intention of the book is to provide you with access to self-coaching strategies so that you can fill your virtual backpack and carry those around with you as you go out day to day, and be able to stretch into that backpack and pull out what's going to support you in the day, and particularly recognizing that not everybody can have an executive coach sitting by their side day by day as they go. So the intention of the book is to arm you with strategies that in the absence of a coach, perhaps your coaching sessions have come to an end, or maybe logistically you haven't been able to engage with a coach, or maybe financially it's just been challenging to be able to pay for a coach. You'll be able to form your own skills, your own strengths around your own self-coaching muscles so that you can feel more at ease and more comfortable in being able to be resourceful for yourself in those moments when you don't have that coach on hand.
Fabulous. Thanks, Karen.
Particularly passionate about coaching, and I'm really privileged to be able to be in a role where I am coaching wonderful leaders, a diverse range of leaders day to day, both in a professional sense, and also I do voluntary coaching with Dress for Success and with the social enterprise, the Bambuda Group. So I'm doing one-on-one coaching with a range of people with a range of issues. And I felt that I'd like to be able to extend my reach and to support more people who might not have access to that one-on-one coaching. And so my inspiration behind the book was to think, well, how can I bring more equity to access of coaching strategies? How can I reach more people so that they can have the support and the strategies that they can arm themselves with to allow them to be their better or best self and have the leadership impact that they would desire? And that would improve their well-being and therefore ripple out to people around them, to their family, to their friends, to their teammates and organisations and their communities, and in hope that we'd all then be able to impact to try and make this world a better place. So by increasing the equity of access to coaching strategies through the writing of the book, it's providing people with not only the theory behind it and some stories that they might relate to, but also some practical self-reflective exercises, some self-coaching that you can take yourself through, whether it's sitting down with a journal or putting it in your notes section of your phone or scribbling in the book, so that you can feel that you can build those new habits, build those new self-coaching muscles to really be supporting yourself to be of your best. Quite a few. Like, it's hard to just stop at 5, but I'll narrow it down somewhat. And I think the first thing is to actually focus on self, because for us to lead as our best self, if we are not focusing on how we can be our best selves, it's really hard to come forward in a positive way. So we need to be able to first focus on self and think about what are the values that you'd like to honor as you focus and step into your role, whatever that might be, and recalibrate those. Are you actually honoring those values in the work that you're doing, or are you perhaps working against those values? And then what's the purpose that you're working towards? What are the things that you really feel are significant to you, that you really can add value to and you feel of value in doing so? So you're really worthy and you matter in doing what you do. It's your purpose. And lastly, what are the strengths that you can bring? What's going to energize you and allow you to feel really engaged and motivated, inspired? So by focusing on yourself first and being able to really invest in yourself, you can then set your goals. Just look at your mindset around how motivated you are. Think about how you're using your time and now also how you're using your energy in attributing towards those goals, and then work out how you're going to bring your best self to do what you need to do. And once you've done that, you can continue to then move on to the next step, which would be, how do I actually start taking notice of what I'm doing? How do I get into that self-reflective phase and build that self-reflective model, mental model, so you can feel that you're actually putting this into practice? So the next thing you want to do is make time. It's too easy for us to tell everybody how busy we are and how we can't do this, or this is in the way, or we feel overwhelmed. But if we're not making space or making time in our week to stop and pause and really think about self-reflecting, to consider what's helping me in the moment, what's hindering me from achieving what I'd like to do, and what's working well that I'd like to maybe dial up and do more of, and perhaps what are some things I could do differently. Asking yourself a series of questions by self-reflecting in a time frame which is not negotiable time that you set for yourself is going to give you the best chance of building those new habits, and also building your self-awareness around how you are doing, how you are feeling, both physically, emotionally, and also cognitively. The third step is actually seeking feedback around that. So it's one thing to seek your own feedback through self-assessment and through really standing outside of yourself and looking back as an objective third party and doing a bit of a self-assessment as to what's working or not, but actually going to trusted friends, trusted colleagues, and seeking their input to understand, well, what are the things that they're seeing in me that's working well? And what are the blind spots perhaps that I'm not seeing? And I could hear from them and receive as feedback, receive that gift of feedback to try and ascertain what I could do differently. And then as I've built open my perspective, so pushed open my cognitive boundaries and got more insights and knowledge to allow me to grow, the next step would then start to be practicing. Start practicing these new habits, because change takes time and we need to be patient, but we also need to practice to try and think about, well, what's that new behavior that I'd like to lean into? Or what's the new habit I'd like to build around some self-regulation of my emotional state? Or maybe from a physical state, how do I, instead of having back-to-back meetings all the time, what's the new habit I have of putting some space in between, slithers of space for self-care where I can re-energize and look after myself, and building those habits and experimenting. Then move on to the next stage of self-assessment, yet again, a feedback loop, and then start recognizing, what am I doing to have that leadership impact that's long-lasting and enduring and is remaining in my absence, so I continue to motivate and inspire people when I've left the room.
Fabulous. Thanks, Karen.